All right, good evening everyone. I just want to take an opportunity to welcome you here to the Waverley Legion. My name is Steve Sinnott. I'm the chair of the Waverley Community Association, and I just want to say thanks to everyone for coming tonight. This is an important presentation tonight. This is really about our future of the Waverley Community Association. It takes a village to do this, and we're hoping for your support, and we're really looking for you to invest in our community and invest in our future. So it's going to be an important evening tonight. We do have a few people in attendance tonight, but first of all, I'd like to do the land acknowledgement. I'd like to acknowledge that the village of Waverley sits on the Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. We are all Tree people. So we do have a bit of an agenda tonight that we're going to kind of go through. So we're going to kind of open, welcome our attendees and our guests, and I'll do introductions here in a minute. Then we have Angie Spinney from Halifax Regional Municipality. She's going to come up and talk a little bit about the voting procedure, how it's going to work, and how everything's going to play over the next number of weeks. Then I'm going to ask Barry probably to come up and do a presentation on behalf of the Waverley Community Association. At the end of that, we have about a 6.5 minute video. We'd like everyone to have a look at it. It talks a little bit about what the great work that we've done and where we're going to go with our great work. Then we're going to open up the floor to questions and comments, and then we're going to adjourn after that. So that's kind of where we're going to open up. So anyways, I'd just like to welcome some of our people here tonight. First of all, my name is Steve Sinnott. Like I said, I'm the chair of the Waverley Community Association. I do have some of the executive here tonight. I have Shelley Hume. Shelley's our vice chair of the WCA. I have Cheryl Sinnott. She's our secretary of the WCA. And I have Barry Dalrymple. Barry's our financial treasurer, looks after all the finances for us. And also, I'd like to acknowledge all the rest of the volunteers that we have. And if I can have my WCA volunteers stand up. I see Colin, I see Blaine back there, I see quite a few people here. These are the folks that help make the events in our community active and do what they do. So it's important there to acknowledge those folks. So anyways, I'm going to get right into it. This shouldn't be a very long, hopefully not a very long meeting. So we're going to get into the HRM voting procedures. And I'm going to ask Angie Spinney. Angela's from Halifax Regional Municipality. She's going to come up and speak a little bit about the HRM and the voting. Come on up, Angie.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve, and thank you everyone for coming. I'm just here to administer the voting process for the community area rate. So this evening you all are going to have your opportunity to have input into the decision on funding your local community area rates. So the voting process is a 50+1 ballot. So the voting will proceed tonight, as well as people who have sent in their mail-in ballots as well. If you have other community members who would like to mail in their ballots, they can do so as long as it's received by October 31st. And then following that, by November 4th, I will communicate the results of the ballot, and then that will be your opportunity. So the community area rates can be funding for street beautification, for community events such as barbecues, and for capital projects. So this is your opportunity to vote on that. And if you have any questions, I turn it over to your community area rate organization.
Thank you, Angie. And also, if anybody brought their ballots tonight, we do have a little button up front here. You can deposit your ballots into that, and then Angie will take them after the meeting is completed, and she'll take them over to HRM and then have them as officially counted. So at this time, I'm going to ask Barry Dalrymple. Barry's was an ex-councilor here at one time. He's retired, enjoying life, I believe. Or no, Barry, you're not, are you? Barry's on a lot of community groups and that. I serve on some of the community groups with them, so Barry is very active in the community. Barry's been through this process numerous times, so I thought it would be best for Barry to kind of speak about the process, how we're going to go, where we got to, and stuff like that. So, further ado, I'll put it over to Barry. Barry, it's all yours.
Thanks, Steve, and everybody, thanks for coming out tonight. This is a very crucial time in our community. Let me start by telling you, I'm the treasurer, as Steve said. Let me start off by telling you, as of right now today, we have $11,200 left in our bank account. If we continue as we have for the last 2 years with our volunteers doing all of the plowing, yes, I'm here, plowing, snow shoveling, the cleaning, the mowing, if we continue to do that, all of that as volunteers, and only pay the operational costs of our building and some of the events that we have always put on, which we intend to continue to put on as long as we can. We have enough money to get to this coming spring. We do not have money, nor do we have any other sources of income to get past this coming spring. So what does the WCA, what does these funds support? Well, first and mainly, they support the building, the Waverley Community Association building and the Heritage Museum that's right dead smack in the middle of our community. From that organization, we help support the Gold Rush Festival that returned with an absolute bang this year, which was just a fabulous event, start to finish. We support all the many trails. We support the sports park. We already have our application in for the outdoor rink again this year, and we hope that, God willing, we get approved and we continue to be able to do that and put the outside rink up again. The concerts on the green. I think this past summer we did 5 concerts on the green. The other events for families. The last year's Christmas on the green, which because of weather became Christmas in the Legion. If any of you were here, have young kids, it was jam-packed, sold out. Sold out when I say it was free, but it was packed. As were many of the Gold Rush events, as were many of the other things that we put on constantly, year in and year out. So the question I know some people have asked, so how did we get it? Well, when HRM was formed, they knew full well that suburban and rural areas were not going to get anything near the services they get in the city. So many areas out here in suburban rural HRM were given what's called service rates. The community of Waverley was awarded $24,000 a year to run services, recreation, trails, a community hall, that kind of thing. And we ran those right up until about 4 years ago. You've heard me say this, and there's no nice way to say it, but the councillor between when I left and before Kathy came allowed HRM to remove that service rate. It was the last service rate in all of HRM, and it's gone. And it's not coming back. Trust me, we've tried. Kevin and I went to community council meetings, we've gone to HRM meetings, it's not coming back. So we no longer have a source of funding. I know one of the questions that people ask, because in my 8 years as councillor, yes, I both instituted more area rates than any other councillor in HRM. I also got rid of more area rates than any other councillor in HRM. I've been on both sides. Matter of fact, as a councillor, I helped get rid of the area rate here in Waverley about 9 or 10 years ago, the old sidewalk fund area rate, mainly because it was so small and raised such a small amount of money, it would never have even contributed to 10 more yards of a sidewalk installation. So we got rid of it. So that service rate is gone. And like I say, there is no other funding source. Trust me, over the last 2 years since it's been gone, we have looked at everything. We have brought in experts. We've had folks come out from HRM departments. We've talked about a lot of things, including cookie sales. It's just not going to do it. So we started talking to, first of all, we started to talking to all of our other community organizations. And Waverley is blessed with all kinds of volunteer community associations and groups. Many of you are in the room tonight. So we talked to all the groups, and the question was, what is all this worth to our community, and how do we pay for it? And over again, every single person on all of those volunteer groups said, we would love to continue to volunteer, we love what we're doing, we want to keep doing this for our community. But we need a functional WCA, we need a functional main building, we need the museum, we need everything to keep going. And you'd be stunned at some of the amounts of that groups came up with that they thought it would be worthwhile. We don't need that kind of money. But we did do, I believe, very diligent budgets. We've had conversations with all of our community groups. We had a meeting about a year ago at the start of this process that was actually we had more people at that meeting than we have tonight. We've had our AGM where we talked about this. We have met with community subdivision groups. We've met with all of our volunteer organizations. And we ended up coming up with, this is around the amount of money we need, not just to run the community hall and museum, but to put on all the events that we currently do. And that we all have some more ideas of more events we'd like to do. Plus, if you've seen the budget that was attached in the letter you got, yes, there's a certain amount of money that goes each year into a building maintenance fund, because the building needs maintenance. It's not a brand new building. So we do need some funding there. We believe the budget is practical. We believe that is the money we need to operate, and that is sustainable for the foreseeable future. I know some people have asked before, well, once an area rate goes in, you can do whatever you want with it, you can raise it, you can do all those kind of things. The answer is absolutely not. We cannot do that. We cannot change the area rate. It cannot go up, nor can it go down, unless we go right back through the exact same procedure we're doing here the past year and into tonight. Full public meetings, our community public meetings, which we had months ago, then a full HRM public meeting, and another round of balloting and votes. So can we raise or change the rate from $35 per year? Not without going back through the whole same public process, which you all get to be part of. So at the end of the day, folks, we, like Steve said, yes, I'm on a lot of community groups, and not just Waverley. Whether it's Fall River, Wellington, Windsor Junction, Lakeview, yes, lots and lots and lots of community groups. But we have something going for us here that no other community in our area, and our area is known for volunteering. We're not the city, nor do we want to be, or at least I don't want to be. We run here on volunteer organizations. Volunteers do what we love to see done. So all of these other volunteer groups are absolutely wonderful, and they do great work. I'm the youngest on most of those other groups. I'm scared because I'm about to turn 70. What we have here is a whole brand new generation, a few generations younger than some of us, who are actively and enthusiastically joining in and getting stuff done. We have people in their 20s, in their 30s that are donating their time, machinery, equipment, coming out and getting stuff done, not only in the WCA, but in the sports park, on the trails groups. Gold Rush, if anybody was at Gold Rush, did you see the amount of people working Gold Rush, doing events in their 20s and 30s? So nobody else has that. We do. To keep that running, to keep that enthusiasm, to keep doing all these things, we're asking for $35 a year. And I do also know from my previous councillor experience, one of the main questions and one of the main points is we already pay taxes. And we pay taxes for those things. And my answer is, yes, you do. And you do get those things in the HRM, but not here. If you want an outdoor ring, you go to the Oval in the city. If you want to go to concerts, you go in the city, and they're not free. If you want lots of extra walking trails and parks, you go in the city. But they're a long way away. Then there's traffic and all that stuff. And you don't get to do it with your friends, neighbors, and family. All of those things you can get, you can do, and you can enjoy right here in our community, and they're all free, other than $35 a year. So our question to you on that ballot is everything that makes our community so special, if everything that we have, that just clued on me when I sing Franker, so not only do we have that, we have a world champion canoe club in our community with a beautiful facility. We have national champion baseball organization here. Our U18 midgets are the Canadian national champion. I don't know if any of you knew that. And we have 2 ball fields here in our community. And it goes on and on and on. We have a lot to enjoy, a lot to offer. Is all of that worth $35 a year? I think it is, and the WCA thinks it is. So we are recommending tonight that you take your ballot and you vote yes. So we have a 6.5 minute video we'd like you to see, and then we'll certainly answer any questions or concerns.
I have lived in Waverley, Nova Scotia for the last 42 years. Love it, love it. I've lived in 4 different continents, and I call Waverley home, my home of choice. There's something special about Waverley because we have this site here, the village office, and the green, made much nicer now with the recent improvements. I find it reassuring for me and my core value to have this sense of connectivity and continuity to make me feel that Waverley is my home.
Just want to speak a bit on how amazing it has been to grow up. I'm born and raised in Waverley. I would argue with many people that I had one of the best childhoods, and a lot of that had to do with my parents bringing me up around Gold Rush Days, volunteering, and all the special events that go on in this community. It's a very special community, and I hope that we can always have the funding that will support the amount of volunteers and the people that really care about this community so we can keep it special, and so that our kids and our grandchildren and our family and our friends can always have what we have here that makes it special.
I have memories that go back to that time frame when I think maybe 2 families had 2 cars and a couple of bathrooms, but we were all pretty happy to get by with 1 car and 1 bathroom, and there was no big choices among recreational activities because there was scouts and there was guides and there was school and there was church groups. And there was a chance to go cheer for the Waverley Gold Diggers hockey games and enjoy the fights at the local dances. That was pretty much it. So when I think about what we've got now in our own community, I feel pretty rich. But I remember that back in the 60s, we were worried that we didn't have enough, and that is something that we still have to recognize is reality today. What's really worth hanging on to and what's really taking a chance on and investing in, and what do we want our kids to have in the future were questions that I remember my parents struggling with back then, and I know that we still struggle with them now. I volunteer in the Waverley Heritage Museum, which is tucked away in a section of the little white former church at the bottom of School Street, right in the center of Waverley. In fact, that building has become somewhat of a symbol for Waverley as a community because it is the home base of numerous volunteer organizations that make a lot of the magical things that I find myself often taking for granted in Waverley.
Thank you for taking the time to watch this clip. You'll see little bits and pieces of our community of Waverley, what we think is unique, what we think is absolutely fabulous, why we love it here in Waverley, why we love our community. We need your help. You can do your part now. We need you, when you get your ballot in the mail, which is coming quickly from HRM, to make sure you read it all. If you have any questions or concerns, my email address is on that letter. Feel free to email me with any questions you have. If you'd like, we are having an open public meeting on Monday, October 24th at 6 o'clock at the Waverley Legion. If you'd like to make a comment, good or bad, if you have questions, if you have observations, please come to the meeting. You can bring your ballots to that meeting and hand it over directly to HRM staff that will be there. Folks, we need your help for our future. When you get your ballot, please vote, take the time, please vote yes, send your ballot in. Stand up and be counted. Let's do it together for our community.
Hi folks, Steve Sinnott, Chair of the Waverley Community Association. I do want to acknowledge, though, that Waverley does sit on the Mi'kmaq, the ancestral and unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. We are all treaty people. Just want to take an opportunity to say that you have a chance to invest in our community, a community that's very important to many, many people. As you've seen throughout this video, there's lots of people that's talked about the great things the community has and what they have to offer. Such community groups as the subdivisions that we have here, Spider Lake Subdivision, we have Silversides and Frame, all partners at the table with us. We have the McDonald Sports Park. We have the Waverley Museum also here on the table. We have the Waverley Legion. These are all community groups, and if I missed anyone, I do apologize, but this is the part of the community that helps us. We bring these folks in to collaborate on some great information and help us to keep our momentum moving so we can do some great things and continue Gold Rush, the concert series, the skating on the green. You folks, Christmas on the green, Halloween on the green. I could sit here and talk about all the great things that we do, but by you guys investing into the community, it's going to help us for the future. Yes, please vote yes. This is an important time. Read the information and make sure you understand, and if any questions, please reach out. Just want to give a big credit out to Dagley Media, Pat Healy from the Laker, for helping us put this piece together. This is important, folks. A small investment will go a long, long way here in the Waverley community. So thank you very much, folks. Hope to see you on the 24th. Please email if you have any questions. We're here to support. We're here to do great things in the community. Thank you very much, and take care.
Folks, I forgot one thing, and you should know. It's not like we are depending solely on this funding. We are continuing and we're moving ahead with many, many things because we're hopeful that this will pass. But just as an example of what some of the stuff upcoming we hope we'll get to do, our councillor here tonight has already agreed and passed an amount of $5,000 to, in the spring, tear down the old long-standing gazebo on the main trail in the sports park. And next spring it will be completely rebuilt and a brand new gazebo there. Thank you, Kathy. I can tell you the federal government called this past Friday. They're prepared to approve $44,900 towards a brand new outdoor pavilion on a concrete pad to be built in the sports park as well. We are in negotiations with ACOA for approximately $100,000 to $125,000, partnering with a very large local company to build 2 ball fields out on the Lake William Trail, which, if you've been out lately, has been pushed all the way to the last brook about a month ago with brand new gates and a little bit more parking. I don't know if I'm allowed to tell people about the Legion yet.
Go ahead.
Friday. The lights at the ball field.
It's what?
Lights at the ball field will come.
If you heard that, power and lights are coming into the baseball field in the Waverley Sports Park.
Yep.
Hopefully next summer, but certainly within 2 years, but we're hoping for next year. And the federal government has, I believe, is about to announce a large investment here in the Legion. I'll leave it at that. So it's not like we're sitting waiting and
Friday
doing
at 3
nothing.
o'clock.
What's that?
Friday at 3 o'clock.
3:30.
3:30.
Okay, Friday.
If you want you there early.
There'll be a major announcement.
The later news will have the video story.
Just so you know, there is lots to come. We do need a WCA to make it happen.